Gina, Jinwoo's little sister, starts searching for him because it's time for her parent-teacher conference, and he completely forgot about it. Although she's used to her big brother's unpredictable behavior, she can't help but express her frustration. He still manages to make it to the conference, making it just in time. As Gina walks with Jinwoo to the conference room, she teasingly offers to set him up with someone, as he's been so busy with his work. But Jinwoo, pinching her cheek. The parent-teacher conference begins, and Jinwoo hears the good news that his sister is doing great in school and is on track to enter medical school, which brings a smile to his face. But the mood shifts quickly when her teacher raises a concerning where the teacher suggests Gina might become a hunter if she awakens abilities. Jinwoo firmly opposes the idea. The teacher asks for another favor. Afterward, Jinwoo visits his sister's friend, Song-yi, to discuss her future. Song-yi recognizes Jinwoo as Gina's brother and explains that being an E-rank hunter is her only way to survive. Frustrated, she tells Jinwoo that if he's there to lecture her, he should leave. Jinwoo clarifies that he only wants to understand her situation. Meanwhile, S-rank hunter Hwang Dong-soo arrives in Korea, met by Woo Jin-chul. Dong-soo makes it clear he won't stay long, and Jin-chul wonders if it's connected to certain people. Dong-soo hints at dealing with E and D-rank hunters in a dungeon, warning Jin-chul not to interfere. In a separate meeting, S-rank hunter Jong-in informs President Gun-hee about flying monsters found in the sea. Gun-hee decides to investigate further, recognizing the threat they could pose.
Back to Jinwoo, who is now on a mission at a Seagate site.
Preparing for a dangerous dungeon raid with an assault team of 6 hunters. The team is led by Kim Chul, an A-rank tanker hunter, and includes a mix of B and C-ranked hunters. As they prepare to enter the dungeon, Jinwoo and his ally, Sun-yi, join the team, making it a 10-member operation. But just as they're about to enter the dungeon, something unexpected happens. A red gate suddenly appears. A red gate is a type of dungeon that's different from regular gates, as it creates a direct link between the hunters and the monsters within, cutting them off from the outside world. The red gate sucks everyone in, leaving only An and Hyun behind, who immediately contact the team inside. Jinwoo explains that the red gate leads to a kind of dungeon where time passes differently. 1 day inside is equivalent to 1 hour outside. They'll only be able to escape if they defeat the boss or if the dungeon collapses on its. As they traverse the snowy landscape, an icy arrow suddenly flies towards Sun-yi. But Jinwoo catches the arrow barehanded, saving her life. C-rank hunters is killed instantly by the arrow. Jinwoo quickly identifies the attackers. Ice elves, known for their lethal, precise attacks and their affinity for ice magic. These ice elves are incredibly dangerous, and Jinwoo warns everyone about their brutal methods of combat. At this point, Kim Chul, being the highest-ranked hunter on the team, asserts his authority and decides to split the group into 2 teams in order to maximize their chances of survival. However, in a selfish move, he tells the lower-ranked hunters, C and B ranks, that they're not worthy to join his team. Kim Chul dismisses them as deadweight, showing his true nature as a ruthless and arrogant leader. One of the B-ranked hunters, Park Hee-jin, shocks everyone by choosing to join Jinwoo's team, despite Kim Chul's group supposedly being the safer option. Hee-jin has seen Jinwoo's abilities firsthand and knows he has an edge over the others, even without the traditional hierarchy of hunter ranks. As the 2 groups split up, with Kim Chul's team heading east and Jinwoo leading his group into the forest, the situation only grows more dangerous. Kim Chul's group notices the telltale signs of an ice bear's presence when they spot claw marks on the trees. Kim Chul scoffs at the idea of the lower-ranked hunters being able to survive an encounter with an ice bear, which is known for its strength and ferocity. But Jinwoo, ever confident, suggests that the ice bear's territory is likely clear of any intelligent creatures, making it a safer path for his group to take. Jinwoo's group ventures deeper into the forest. To the surprise of everyone, Jinwoo pulls out warm coats from his inventory, showcasing his incredible powers yet again. He instructs everyone to stay out of his way. Jinwoo, leading his group deeper into the portal, tells Song-yi that since he brought her along, he'll take responsibility for her well-being. He warns the others not to ask questions or demand explanations. As they press forward, a massive ice bear suddenly appears, blocking their path. Meanwhile, outside the Red Gate, Hunter Baek Yunho and Sungmin are watching from a distance. Sungmin mentions that Jinwoo is inside the red portal, but remains unclear if he's had his second awakening. Baek is concerned, as he's unsure of what to make of the situation. Before they can discuss further, Hwang Dong-soo arrives at the entrance, clearly frustrated. He mutters that with the red portal sealing them in, he won't be able to reach Jinwoo and might not make it out himself. Inside the portal, Jinwoo and his group continue their fight with the ice bears. These red portals grant much more experience than ordinary ones. However, even with his newfound strength, Jinwoo remains vigilant. Back in Jinwoo's group, as they feast on the tender meat of the ice bears, Jinwoo is already thinking ahead. He's determined to locate the ice bear's lair and take down the source of the problem. Moving deeper into the cave, he notices something strange. Several pairs of eyes are watching him from the darkness. Knowing that danger is near, Jinwoo steers his group forward, ready to confront whatever comes next. With Jinwoo's command, the Shadow Soldiers begin their attack, while Jinwoo himself stands at the ready, taking on the ice bear directly. The fight is fierce, and Jinwoo's Shadow Soldiers work in tandem with him. But the battle drags on, and his mana starts to deplete. As the fight continues, Jinwoo's mana runs dangerously low, but the ice bear remains standing. The Shadow Soldiers are eventually all defeated, but the true test begins when a massive, mohawked ice bear boss enters the fray. The colossal creature quickly wipes out Jinwoo's remaining Shadow Soldiers, and all of his mana is completely drained. Despite the dire situation, Jinwoo remains calm and calls upon Igris, his elite Shadow Soldier, to finish the fight. Igris, wielding his sword, displays his unmatched combat skills, swiftly dispatching the ice bear boss with precision and speed. With one final strike, Igris decapitates the massive creature, bringing an end to the battle. As Jinwoo's group celebrates their victory, Kim Chul's team faces a far worse fate. They're being overwhelmed by the Ice Elves. But the Ice Elves are closing in, and the situation looks grim. In the shadows, the leader of the Ice Elves, a dark, terrifying figure, watches Kim Chul with malicious intent. We see Jinwoo standing victorious over the Death Bears, showcasing his immense power as a necromancer. With a simple command to rise, Shadow Bears emerge from the corpses, seamlessly joining Jinwoo's ever-growing Shadow Army. Outside the portal, Sang explains that the strike force has been trapped inside for 3 hours, which translates to about 3 days in the portal's distorted time. Dong-soo halts his departure, demanding to know why Jinwoo was associating with the White Tiger Guild. Sang casually explains that Jinwoo is merely an acquaintance who wanted to observe a C-rank mission. While Sang feels relieved, Dong-soo shocks everyone by suddenly choking him. At that moment, Baek steps forward, transforming, and tells Dong-soo to stop. Dong-soo is impressed when Jin Chul intervenes, managing to stop the escalating S-rank fight. Jin Chul humbly admits that the only reason his arms remain intact is that the 2 S-rank hunters restrained themselves at the last moment. Jin Chul reassures Dong-soo that Jinwoo is just an E-rank hunter, emphasizing that he re-evaluated Jinwoo 2 months ago and found no reason to believe otherwise. Before the conversation can continue, Dong-soo is called away, muttering that Jinwoo is lucky. Sang watches him leave, reflecting on how no one truly grasps the depth of Jinwoo's power. Inside the portal, Kim Chul feels relieved after escaping the elves, but his relief turns to horror when he stumbles upon the mangled corpses of the Death Bears. The sight terrifies him, and he wonders how the E-ranks he abandoned could possibly be responsible. Jinwoo's group sits around a fire, trying to stay warm. Their peace is shattered when Kim Chul storms in, furious to see these weaklings alive and thriving. Dressed in weather gear and surrounded by blankets and food, they're in much better shape than his own group. Kim Chul accuses them of hoarding supplies, claiming his team died because they lacked proper equipment. Blinded by anger, he demands to know who was hiding the gear. However, before Kim Chul can act, Jinwoo suddenly appears and overpowers him. The group is stunned by their leader's unexpected return. Jinwoo calls out to the hidden presence, stating that their aura is far too strong to go unnoticed, and orders them to drop their stealth. In response, the ice elves reveal themselves. Jinwoo then speaks fluently in the language of the magic beasts, surprising himself. The elven leader explains their presence. Before the leader can finish, Jinwoo swiftly chops off the challenger's head. The leader is amused by this brutality, but Jinwoo is uninterested in entertaining him and immediately launches an attack. The leader defends himself skillfully, and Jinwoo realizes this opponent won't go down easily. The leader remarks that Jinwoo isn't human and questions why he's pretending to be. Jinwoo is confused, but the leader's laugh suggests he knows something Jinwoo doesn't. He explains that elves are driven by a voice in their minds commanding them to kill humans, but strangely, they don't hear it when it comes to Jinwoo. This revelation makes Jinwoo suspicious, wondering if the elves' silence toward him is connected to his system directives. The leader speculates that Jinwoo might not be entirely human and encourages him to hand over the other humans. But Jinwoo demands to know why the elves are targeting humans at all. Jinwoo refuses to comply. Jinwoo is undeterred and questions why the leader is so confident. He then summons a shadow army, leaving the others to watch in disbelief. The elven leader dismisses Jinwoo's forces as a waste of time, but Jinwoo presses for a fight. The two sides engage in a brutal battle. The humans with Jinwoo attempt to flee, but elven archers target them. Jinwoo eliminates the archers with ease. Despite his prowess, Jinwoo realizes the elves are stronger than he anticipated and dealing significant damage. While Jinwoo's shadow is technically immortal, regenerating his troops costs magic power, which is finite. He concludes that even worse, the elven leader is undeniably stronger than him. The leader, Barca, engages Jinwoo directly. Jinwoo quickly assesses the situation and realizes his regular soldiers won't suffice, needing a stronger force to match Barca's power. Jinwoo unleashes a massive meteor, catching Barca off guard. Meanwhile, Kim Chul regains consciousness, seething with anger. He curses Jinwoo again, gripping his sword tightly, determined to take him down. As Barca battles Jinwoo's magic soldiers, Kim Chul uses the chaos to make his move. However, Jinwoo, having anticipated this, orders Igris to create a smoke screen. Igris swiftly ends Kim Chul's life, and Jinwoo commands him to rise, turning him into a shadow soldier. Barca mocks Jinwoo's forces as a waste of time, but his confidence falters when a towering new shadow soldier, Iron, emerges to confront him. Barca assesses Iron, noting its lack of agility but immense durability. Igris is ready for battle. As Iron holds his ground, Barca declares the fight lacks challenge and demands Jinwoo and Igris join the fray. His frustration grows as Iron's persistent screams echo throughout the fight. Barca decides to deal with Iron first, but Iron proves a formidable tank. Barca dodges Igris' strikes, but is caught off guard when Jinwoo lands a stab. Impressed, Jinwoo notes that Barca avoids a fatal wound. Barca, remembering his army, turns to see Jinwoo's shadow army has wiped out his entire clan. As Jinwoo throws his dagger, Barca mocks him, calling him a fool. Barca barely blocks it, but his weapon is destroyed in the process. Jinwoo seizes the moment, ordering Iron to restrain Barca. Barca becomes the target of a devastating fire attack. Despite the strike, Barca isn't finished. Jinwoo counters, silencing him once and for all. The battle is over as Barca lies lifeless on the ground, and Jinwoo reprimands Iron for his overzealousness. The ground trembles, but Iron ensures their victory is absolute. Jinwoo silently hopes Iron's behavior won't become a recurring issue. The group breathes a collective sigh of relief. Jinwoo calmly tells them it's time to leave. Outside the portal, Sang tells Beck it's time to return, as a week has passed and survival chances are slim. But Beck refuses, unwilling to abandon his guild member. The portal opens, and Beck assumes Kim Chul is emerging, but is stunned to see Jinwoo, alive and unscathed. Sang's confidence proves correct. The gate closes, and Beck, horrified, wonders about Kim Chul's fate. He learns only the low-ranked hunter survived, prompting questions about what transpired inside. Beck approaches Jinwoo, who, visibly exhausted, tells him to direct his questions to someone in his guild. Beck is taken aback, but realizes Jinwoo saved the two survivors. Beck apologizes for his earlier demeanor. Later, Jinwoo drops saying he at her home. She thanks him and looks forward to seeing him again. Jinwoo reflects on the ordeal, disappointed to have earned only a single dagger for his efforts. He concludes that Barca must have been too high-level for better rewards and remembers failing to raise Barca as an immortal soldier the next day. Jinwoo takes a breath, reflecting on his next goal, that then Jinwoo meets Leo, who shocks him with his flashy, over-the-top attire. Seeing how casually Jinwoo and Sang interact, Leo becomes suspicious. When Jinwoo asks if Sang got any sleep, Leo misinterprets the moment and, concerned, reminds Jinwoo that Sang is underage. Jinwoo brushes it off, unaware of Leo's misunderstanding, which only heightens Leo's concern.
The episode kicks off with a scene from a dungeon, where we find Jinho once again. Jinho is watching in amazement as Jinwoo's shadow soldiers do all the heavy lifting. He's absolutely floored when he notices these powerful soldiers, and Jinwoo casually remarks, "Oh yeah, I didn't show you these guys before." Jinwoo mentions that they are part of his skill set. Jinho, eager to help out, sits down to start collecting the gems himself. However, a soldier approaches him, handing over some of the gems. Jinho smiles and thanks the soldier, appreciating the teamwork. At this point, the scene cuts to a destroyed boat. The ship is wrecked, and all the soldiers aboard are dead, except for one survivor who is left terrified. A massive figure emerges from the wreckage. At first, the survivor believes this towering figure is a magical beast, but to his shock, it's simply a human. This encounter is an eerie foreshadowing of things to come. Back to the main action. Jinwoo and Jinho's raid mission proceeds without much trouble. Afterward, they take a moment to celebrate their success. With a few drinks and a hearty meal, they bask in the satisfaction of completing 19 quests, something Jinho is especially excited about. The completion of these missions is a crucial step for Jinho in establishing his guild, with Jinwoo providing the much-needed assistance. This goal remains central to their partnership. During their celebration, Jinho turns to Jinwoo and asks about his future plans. Jinwoo responds cryptically, saying that he'll be unreachable for a while as he heads off somewhere. Jinho opens up about his relationship with his older brother, revealing that they've never had a meaningful conversation, and that his brother doesn't even like him. Jinho wishes that Jinwoo were his brother instead, and Jinwoo, with a playful grin, decides to take him up on that offer. "Alright then," he says, "from today you're my little bro." Jinho, thrilled by the gesture, insists that they eat more meat to celebrate their new brotherhood. Meanwhile, a different scene plays out in a jail cell. A foreign hunter is being held captive, claiming that he was trapped in a gate for 10 years before recently emerging from a new gate that opened near the US. His inability to speak English and his strange mannerisms raise suspicions among the authorities, who suspect that he might be a humanoid beast or even a magical beast in human form. To investigate further, they call in an S-rank hunter named Mr. Dong-soo, whose real name is revealed to be Sang Tae-yun. The next morning, Jinwoo prepares for his trip. His sister, Jinna, teases him about where he's going and who he's going with. She jokingly asks if he has a girlfriend, but Jinwoo laughs it off, saying he's just going on a trip with a friend. He heads off to the Dean Castle, the same castle Sarba introduced him to in the past. When Jinwoo first visited the castle, his level was only 20, but now his level has nearly tripled. Confident in his abilities, Jinwoo decides he's ready to take on the boss this time. Upon entering, he receives a quest notification that requires him to collect 10,000 demon souls. Without hesitation, he dives into the dungeon, surrounded by countless demons. While Jinwoo faces off with demons, Jinho visits his father. Their conversation turns to the guild, and Jinho's father asks whether he intends to take over the family guild. Jinho tries to explain that his older brother plans to bring in an outsider as guild master, which he believes could endanger the family's legacy. Jinho's father mentions Jinwoo, recalling his involvement in the Double Dungeon incident, the White Tiger Guild's Red Gate crisis, and how he saved survivors during the incident. With Jinwoo's help, Jinho managed to obtain his guild master license. Jinho asks again for his father's permission to take over the guild, but his father offers a deal. "On one condition," he says. "You must recruit Jinwoo to join our guild." Confidently, Jinho promises that he can get Jinwoo to join. Back at the Demon Castle, Jinwoo is busy wiping out demons but quickly notices something odd. He cannot extract their souls. However, he stumbles upon a gate pass, which is an entry permit for moving to the second floor. Realizing the distance, Jinwoo summons his Ice Bear boss to help him get to the gate. The Ice Bear's strength is impressive, and Jinwoo names it Tank for its tank-like abilities. Meanwhile, we cut to a scene with Cha-Hain. She's coming out of a swimming pool, and as usual, everyone around her is struck by her beauty. However, Cha appears tense, recalling a conversation with Choi Jong-in. She questions why they aren't revealing the red eyes and growing wings of magical beasts to the public. Choi reassures her that they need to focus on becoming stronger and building their guild to be the country's best. For now, they must stay silent about the looming threat. Back in the dungeon, Jinwoo reflects on his initial expectation of the dungeon, assuming it was an S-rank level, only to find that most of the demons here are only upper B rank. He presses on, continuing to collect gate passes and clearing more floors. As he advances, he realizes that the dungeon might have 100 floors, similar to the original tower. He continues pushing forward, though his supplies are running low, and he needs to head back home soon as he promised his sister he'd return in a week. After many trials, Jinwoo finally collects the 10,000 demon souls and reaches the 49th floor. To ascend to the 50th floor, he must face the Demon King Ash Vulcan, who rules the lower floors. Meanwhile, 2 representatives from the White Tiger Guild have come to recruit Jinwoo, but they find that Jinwoo isn't home. They approach his sister Gina, and learn that Jinwoo's location is still in the city. They track his last known location, which was right in the middle of the city. At this point, Jinwoo tells his shadow army to handle the demons while he focuses on taking down the boss. His shadow army moves into action, with Igris leading the charge. Jinwoo notices that his soldiers have become more powerful, with their numbers, intelligence, and magic abilities all improving. But just when things seem to be going well, the boss, Ash Vulcan, teleports to the battlefield, catching everyone off guard. Even Igris is shocked by the boss's sudden appearance. The Demon King attacks with lightning speed, and Jinwoo is forced to block its attacks with his iron shield. Despite the shield's strength, the Demon King's relentless assault tests Jinwoo's limits. He quickly realizes that he needs to target the smaller head on the Demon King's body to defeat it, but stopping its erratic movements proves difficult. The battle intensifies, with Jinwoo using his strategy to lure the boss into a building. The fight scenes are intense, and the action is nothing short of spectacular. Meanwhile, we cut to Sang and Dong Su, who are engaged in a heated conversation. Dong Su mocks Sang, asking if magic beasts can really take human form. Sang responds calmly, telling him he can prove it with a DNA test if he wants. Dong Su, tired of the conversation, dismisses him, but Sang presses on, asking how much humanity really knows about gates and magic beasts. He warns that the gates and beasts are simply harbingers of a much greater disaster. Dong Su scoffs at this, but Sang's words carry weight. The two engage in a tense standoff, and Dong Su's frustration builds. Even magic beasts like you have human names? You have a family, right? Do you remember your child's name? Sang calmly answers, Jinwoo. Dango realizes Sang is his father. Sang asks, why the murderous intent? Dango growls, I won't answer. Sang presses, tell me. Dango snarls, your son's dead. Say your last words to him in hell. The tension builds as both unleash their auras. Finally, back in the dungeon, Jinwoo has defeated the 50th floor boss and continues his journey. He faces another powerful foe, the Skeletal King, and defeats it, leveling up once again. As the episode nears its end, we see the destruction left in the wake of Jinwoo's battles. A building has been completely obliterated and emergency services are on the scene, speculating that it was an S-rank hunter fight that caused the destruction. With 25 floors still to go, Jinwoo pushes forward, collecting loot, including an earring from the 50th floor boss and a necklace from the Skeletal King. He's also secured 2 out of 3 ingredients needed to save his mother, but time is running out. He promises to return to finish what he started. The episode closes on a cliffhanger, leaving fans eagerly awaiting what comes next.